Two little girls, two separate shootings this weekend. Takaya Holmes and the Pink and a bright-eyed Canary Gentry Bowers were both shot.
In a separate shooting about a half hour later, 11-year-old Takaya Holmes was also shot in the head. That shooting in the Parkway Gardens neighborhood in the 6500 block of South King Drive. She was taken to Comer Children's Hospital.
My grandbaby's 11 years old. That's my only grandchild. I may not have her.
Takaya's grandmother, Patsy Holmes, says the 11-year-old was in the back seat of this minivan, her mom at the wheel, when those bullets came flying through the window.
Shots rang out. She told everybody to get down, and once they stopped, she asked was everybody okay, and Takaya did not respond.
We are following some breaking news right now. Family members of an 11-year-old girl who was shot on Saturday say that she has died.
The young girl was hit by a stray bullet while sitting in a van in Parkway Gardens. Police do not have a suspect in custody. A reward to catch her killer has been increased to $3,000.
Police telling us that they arrested a man last night. They say the 19-year-old came, turned himself in, and requested an attorney. Antoine Jones, we are now learning, will appear before a judge sometime this afternoon. Prosecutors are expected to charge him with first-degree murder and more. Jones is accused of being the person behind the trigger in the shooting that killed Takaya Holmes. The 11-year-old died yesterday, and we're told doctors are now in the process of donating her organs. Takaya was sitting in a van with her family when she was shot in the head just before 8 Saturday night. It happened on the 6500 block of South King Drive in the view of cameras. Now, police pored over that surveillance tape and identified people known to them that they then brought in for questioning. Those men identified Jones as the shooter, and police believe Jones was aiming at 3 people he didn't feel belonged in his Parkway Gardens neighborhood. They say Jones has a lengthy criminal record.
Has been known to CPD for a long time. He was previously identified by CPD to be at a greater risk of becoming a victim or an offender of gun violence, and has been arrested for various offenses, mostly as a juvenile.
The mother of an 11-year-old girl gunned down in Chicago has words for the man who is charged with pulling the trigger, saying she hopes he rots in hell. Nikea Williams spoke out on Facebook after police arrested 19-year-old Antoine Jones for first-degree murder in the death of little Takaya Holmes. Jones was denied bail. Takaya's mother says she will be at every court date for this case.
Yo, what it is, people, we is back. Another day on Keep It G News. Now, before I get in this video, I want to give a shout out to Dirty Doug Bullies for the $10 Cash App. I greatly appreciate it. You know, Cash Apps are welcome. But in this video, y'all, we going to OBLOCK. We going to OBLOCK. And make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe to the channel, because I'm telling y'all, you ain't going to get this information nowhere else on YouTube. I promise you. But OBLOCK Rage was just arrested. Caught 71 years in prison, y'all. And I'm going to make it a duty on this channel when you talk about shooters. You know, the drive-by shooter and the football field away shooter. I'm going to make that obsolete in our culture. I promise you. That is one of my core focuses on YouTube, to make them guys look as goofy as possible. Because I don't think I dislike anything more when it comes down to the streets. Because it is so reckless, y'all. And and a lot of times it might be a playground around. Like, it's so much that go into this. And these people just is shooting recklessly. Always from a half a block away. And in this situation, you're going to hit, it was 12 shots. He didn't hit not one person that he was trying to hit. And that's why I played them clips for y'all in the beginning, so y'all can see the case progress. You know, from when there was no suspects until they arrested a suspect. And they arrested OBLOCK Rage. And I also want to go to court, because a lot of times when we talk about OBLOCK, you always talk about OBLOCK stepped on this person, or OBLOCK did this. We just seen OBLOCK 6 get told on, went to prison. Might be gone for a very long time, even though in my opinion, I think the case is weak. But in this video, you're going to hear OBLOCK members telling the OBLOCK members. As a matter of fact, I think it was an OBLOCK member told on the 6. Muwap and them boys. But in this video, it's 3 guys. And it's a little bit of mix-up. Some people think that these guys are just trying to send him to the wolves. You know, maybe OBLOCK Rage is not the shooter. But I want y'all to hear, before I go to court, because we're going to go to court, because I want y'all to hear the testimony. I want y'all to hear how the prosecution laid out his case versus the defense. But I want y'all to see what happened when OBLOCK Rage caught
Convicted of murdering an 11-year-old Chicago girl has been sentenced to 71 years in prison. The victim, Takia Holmes, was shot in February of 2017. The little girl and her family were sitting in a van near the Parkway Gardens housing development. Prosecutors say Antoine Jones was shooting at rival gang members, but stray bullets hit Holmes in
prison sentence handed down today for a man convicted of firing a shot that killed 11-year-old Takia Holmes.
And our Evelyn Holmes has a powerful reaction from family members who are grieving the young life that was lost here to violence.
This will be her senior year of high school. So we will be preparing for prom and graduation and college. That's what our year would have consisted of.
The mother of Takia Holmes shares her thoughts of what should have been moments after a Cook County judge sentences the Chicago man convicted of killing her to 71 years in prison.
I would bring her back. It gave me a little peace, and she got justice a little bit.
Prosecutors say Antoine Jones was a 19-year-old unemployed high school dropout in February 2017 when he was aiming at 3 rival gang members selling marijuana in his neighborhood near 64th and King Drive. Instead of hitting his intended targets, one of the 12 rounds Jones fired hit the 11-year-old girl as she and her family sat in their minivan. Hours later, Patsy Holmes' only grandchild would pass away.
And I kind of blame myself because that weekend she was supposed to be with me. And I let her go to the little birthday party she wanted to go to.
Jones was convicted during a trial last November. Today, he was sentenced to 45 years for murder and 26 years for attempted murder. Both include a firearms enhancement because he used a gun to commit the crime. Cook County Judge Michael Clancy handed down the sentence, saying the defendant fired shot after shot after shot, which he repeated 12 times, once for every bullet fired, saying that Jones shattered the window of the minivan and the family's lives, too. This weekend, it will be 7 years since gun violence cut the grade schooler's life short. In death, she did help people. Through organ donation, a relative received one of her kidneys and says she carries Takia's spirit with her every day.
It doesn't compare to anything else because when you get the organ of someone, you get fears, you get insecurities, you get memories, you get vulnerabilities.
Anti-violence activist Andrew Holmes is a cousin of Takia's and says her death is both a family tragedy and a cautionary tale.
I hope others are looking. The choices.
71 years in prison, y'all. 46 years for the murder. Another 24 for something else, or 25 for something else. But 71 years. Very long time. Especially when you consider the fact he was only 19. But this is what happens when you're shooting from football fields. There's way too much room for error. And I put this on everything, yo. I'm going to make that look as silly as possible. It's going to be so bad that all across the world, when these guys do these type of things, I want them to be laughed off the block. Almost bad from the block. Now, the good thing is, he took accountability, you know. He turned himself in on these charges. But like I told y'all, some people think he ain't do it. The last thing Takia ever saw was her family. But unfortunately, the last thing she heard was a gunshot. Assistant State's Attorney Christine DeLilio told the jury. Jones was identified as the gunman by 4 witnesses, all members of the same faction of the Gangster Disciple street gangs as Jones. But by the time the case got to trial, those witnesses were less clear about what they saw. One took the stand on Wednesday and told jurors he didn't actually see Jones with a gun that day at all. Assistant Public Defender Dylan Barrett warned jurors they couldn't trust the words of any of the witnesses, adding that they couldn't be trusted to take out your garbage. The police were quick to solve this. Didn't matter who, just had to solve it, he said. Other members of the gang had known each other longer than they had known Jones, Barrett said. So they sacrificed Mr. Jones because he was the easiest to sacrifice. The lawyer also noted the gun used in the shooting wasn't found until 9 months later during a traffic stop in a different area of the city. There was no physical evidence connecting it to Jones, Barrett said. Prosecutors counted that the witnesses backed down from their previous testimony before a grand jury because they didn't want to be seen as snitches. 3 of those witnesses didn't want to testify and had to be hauled into court, Assistant State's Attorney Kevin Nolan said. Every time you heard someone from that witness stand say, "I don't remember," he was apologizing to Jones and lying to you, Nolan told jurors. He stressed that the video surveillance backed up the grand jury testimony, pointing to a person in the video that security guard had identified as Jones. Takia is dead because this man thought he had the right to murder somebody for selling weed in his neighborhood. Because O-Block Rage is not originally from O-Block. He's from another neighborhood. And you heard the defense attorney, he said he wasn't around as long as the other guys. So they kind of put it all on him. And then when they went to court, they tried to backtrack so they wouldn't be called a snitch. But I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Once you make statements to get somebody arrested, you are a snitch. There's no way to come up under that. I don't know if that's Chicago rules, but I'm going to tell you what the world rules is. When you make statements to court, you make statements to the police, and you get somebody arrested, you are a snitch. You might as well go through with the whole process. I promise you. You might as well go through with the whole process because it don't make it better. You know, that's what these guys like to do. They want to tell, but then say, well, should I ain't take the stand? Yo, but you read it. Why not take the stand? I'd rather you take the stand. You know, follow through with it. Don't start something and don't finish it. That's just how I look at it. But there's still people on O-Block saying free O-Block Rage. You know, he's not guilty. He's innocent. Now, for me, you shot an 11-year-old girl. I don't care what happened to you. Actually, O-Block Rage, when he was in the joint, I think somebody might have caught wind that he was arrested for this little girl shooting, and look what they did to him. Let me put y'all on with something if you might not know. It's such thing as street justice, and it's a such thing as prison justice. And what y'all just witnessed right there was prison justice, the early stages of it, because it's going to get worse. One thing that's not tolerated in prison is people that do things to women, children. It's not acceptable. Sex offenders, it's not acceptable. Shooting kids is not acceptable. I don't care what gang you claim. It's always going to be a big and bad gang there. And I don't know if O-Block Rage did this or not. And I got to say that, especially when you're dealing with Chicago, because I covered the situation with D. Rose where I showed y'all that is really a problem in Chicago. Locking away the innocent. It was one cop that been on the force for years. I think he had like 40 cases overturned because wrongful convictions. It was crazy. But he's going to have a long, hard bit, you know. It's going to be rough on him just because he got this over his head, man. Like, and it's crazy. But he put himself there. All because he was fighting over a weed strip. A weed sale. And if you put that on a balance beam, you look at it like, you know, weed sale, 71 years. Weed sale. You would probably pick, man, forget that weed sale. I'm going to let him have it because 71 years ain't worth it. But when you make these decisions, you know how it go. Whether it's right or wrong, I can't be the judge of that. We've seen this too many times where he was 19 years old. He made a decision that I'm sure he wouldn't make again. But he got to stand on it. And it was a bad one. Real bad one. 11 years old. You can't take that back. Can't take it back. That's why we just got to get better with making the right decision the first time. Yo, stop beefing over blocks that don't belong to us. You know? Talking about a weed sale. We talking about maybe he might have made $100, $200 a day. Maybe if that might be a stress. We talking about we on the block with it. You know what I mean? We ain't talking about pushing weight. I doubt if they selling weight on the block. I'm not from Chicago. Maybe that's how they rocking down there. I'm just saying I doubt it. More than likely, he was out there selling nickels, dimes, 20s, half ounces, you know, and smaller. And he killed those boys, or shot at those boys, because he killed the girl. Shot at those boys over a block that didn't belong to him, that he probably wasn't making $10,000 a day on. Because we talking about Bud, y'all. But let me know how y'all feel about this in the comments. Like, I hate to see these type of stories, yo. We got an 11-year-old girl. Yo, she could have been starting high school right now. I mean, graduating. Then we had a 19-year-old kid at the time. Now he got to suffer for a decision that he's never going to make again because, for one, he's not going to get a chance. But for two, he was still young. And by the time he's 30, he's going to be like, yo, I ruined my life. Now he got to stand on it. Let me know how y'all feel about us in the comments. Another day, Keep It G News.
Nigga can't do what I do, y'all niggas can't copy me. Let's keep shit G. Let's keep shit G. Let's keep the shit G. Let's keep shit G. Let's keep shit G.